I think for a little while now, this has been a point of controversy for many people, asking if Jesus is white or black. Now, the idea of Jesus as a white man is a relatively modern development, which was influenced by European culture and historical events. Um, Historically, that's truthfully speaking, there is no direct evidence to suggest whether Jesus was white or black. But then Jesus was born in Bethlehem, that's in the region known as Judea, that's modern day Israel, where the population would have primarily of been of Middle Eastern descent. So it's more accurate to say Jesus had the features common to people from the region at that time, which was dark skin, dark eyes, and hair. Now, when we look at the historical context, speaking of Jesus' ethnicity and appearance, being a Jew in the first century, so we would have had the typical physical appearance of a person from the Eastern Mediterranean. So, and according to the accounts of that time, he was a man of all origins, living in a region ruled by the Roman Empire. So, even though there are not direct descriptions of his appearance in the Bible, scholars agree that based on his geographical and cultural context, he likely had darker skin compared to the way he's often portrayed in European art. So you would ask yourself, how did the white Jesus iconography come to place? Now, the image of a white Jesus emerged largely during the Renaissance period in Europe, that's the 14th to 17th century. And as Christianity spread across Europe, especially after it got to Europe, when the Europeans began to bring in colonization to colonize people from all over the world, artists began to depict biblical figures, including Jesus, according to their own European norms and ideals. And I'm going to tell you why. So, one of the most iconic versions of a white Jesus is the one portrayed in Western European art. That was the works of Leonardo da Vinci, who painted Jesus with light skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. Now, these images were part of a larger trend in which European artists used their own cultural context as a template for religious figures. So you are now going to ask, how did it spread all over the world and then it became generally accepted, at least externally? Now, colonialism and the spread of white Jesus ideology became more widespread during the colonial period. So European colonial powers, particularly in the Americas and Africa, sought to impose their cultural and religious ideologies on colonized populations. Now, the image of a white Jesus served as a tool for reinforcing the cultural and racial hierarchy of colonial rule. I mean, so if the whites act as the boss, as they present themselves as supremacies in terms of race and all that, and then the religion that the Africans were made to accept and believe, either willingly or forcefully, and then it now shows that the supreme being of that religion, which is Jesus Christ, now happens to be of the same race with these colonial masters. So it tends to keep Africans, it tends to keep the blacks, it tends to keep the colonized people in this position of subjection to the supreme race, that's to the white race as at that time. Understand? So by depicting Jesus as a white European figure, colonial powers helped to legitimize the idea that European cultures were superior while darker skinned people were subjugated. Now, so let's go back to reclaiming Jesus' black identity. So there has been a movement in recent decades to challenge the notion of a white Jesus, particularly within African and American communities. And this movement emphasizes the historical and cultural context of Jesus' life, asserting that he was more likely to have been a dark-skinned Middle Eastern man rather than a European figure. So the significance of race in Christianity. In Christian theology, the race of Jesus is ultimately a secondary concern, of course, compared to his teachings, his death, and his resurrection, which I believe are way much more important. However, the way Jesus is portrayed has significant cultural and political implications for marginalized communities, especially African Americans. Reclaiming a more accurate image of Jesus, one that reflects his true ethnicity, can serve as a powerful affirmation of identity and a challenge to centuries of racial misinterpretation. Now, the white portrayal of Jesus is a product of historical, cultural, and political forces that sought to present Jesus in a way that reflected the European ideas and values. So it's just the Europeans trying to present him in a way that favors them and puts them at the seats of hierarchy of power. You understand? So the white Jesus image became dominant in Western arts and culture, especially as Christianity spread through the colonial era. Now, this ongoing conversation about Jesus race seeks to correct these misinterpretations, offering a more historically accurate view of Jesus' identity that aligns with his cultural and geographical background. Now, this is basically the historical context and every other one. If you want me to explain, push out biblical proofs to at least point out that Jesus is black, now check it in the next video. So this is part one. I'll be doing a part two on this video, pushing out biblical verses to portray that yes, Jesus was a black man. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell for more videos. Thank you.